a huge part of the fountain pen experience is paper, in my opinion. It's an especially hot topic this year, given the quality control issues plagued by the industry's overwhelming favorite Tomoe River paper, now manufactured by Sanzen. So, what have I done besides hoard a bunch of old Tomoe River paper, original Tomoe River paper?
I've been experimenting with other papers.
So I've decided that what I'm going to do is start a paper catalog, just like I have for my inks and for my fountain pens. And I've decided I'm going to use this Kleid binder. That's an A5 size. That because A5 paper I can punch with these. I have a puncher from campus that has holes that will fit this binder, and I already had the binder, and so I'm putting it to use. And today, what I want to do is go through a sample pack of fountain pen friendly papers from Yamamoto. This is volume 2 in their series. They have other volumes of this fountain pen friendly paper as well as other types of papers that you can purchase. I got this from Jet Pens. They seem to have all of them. And there's other resellers out there, retailers that have this as well. So what I'm going to do today is go through an exploration of these papers with a variety of mediums. So I have decided to use 4 different kinds of inks. I've selected Sailor Manyo Ha Ha because of its chroma shading properties, Robert Oster Violet Clouds because it is an outstanding shimmer, the J. Herbin Encre Violette, which is a scented ink that tends to feather on Tomoe River paper. I want to see how it works on these other papers. And Octopus Cerberus, which is a sheening ink. I'm also trying out watercolors on this. While this paper is not designated as art paper or watercolor paper, I know many people are also use watercolors in their journaling process. And so I'm going to check and see how they perform, as well as use a variety of pen sizes and some markers and some stamps. So I've already set up this Sanzen Tomoe River paper in 52 GSM, and I'm going to now go through each of the papers that are in this sample pack one by one and apply the same items to this, and we'll compare at the end and see how they perform. One of the things about this book, and I will put this in probably a screenshot, there's a nice description of what the properties, the history of these papers, as well as the different properties. So each one of them has a divider that has this description in it. So I'm going to start with light force. I'm going to move all of these things out, and we're going to try the Manyo Ha Ha first as the chroma shading ink. It's a really popular one. I know a lot of people probably already have it in their collection. And I'm just using the end of a glass dip pen I got on um, Amazon a while back to lay this down because I don't have, it's just the easiest for this exercise to keep clean in between the inks. So I'm going to try to get enough to pool there. Swish that off. And I will just leave these uncapped and be really careful. The next one is the Encre Violette, which I love the scent of this ink. There's something very nostalgic about violet smell. Oh, I just love that. But I have had issues with it feathering, as you saw on the Tomoe River paper. So I'm interested to see how it lays down on these other papers. Then we're going to go with the Robert Oster super sparkly shimmer ink um, that has the gray cap, which is a signal that it is a super duper uh, shimmer. But it's really pretty. I do like it. I've used it once in a pen and I didn't have any issues with that pen, but You wouldn't want to leave it in a pen for too long, I don't think, because it is a little bit of a bugaboo to clean. So I'm going to lay that down. And then the last one is the Cerberus sheening ink. And I know a lot of people have this, it's a binary reaction. You either like them or you don't like them. I happen to like them. I think they are particularly interesting in an extra fine nib because the shifts are very subtle. So this one lays down pretty much as a navy, and you'll see what it does as it dries, how it shifts. But this one is a nice one. I also have a bunch from Diamine that were Cult Pens exclusives. I'm just going to leave these caps off for the time being, except for I will need to keep reshaking the Robert Oster. Okay, next we're going to do the watercolor. And true disclosure here, I am not I've taken a class. I had a great time taking a class in St. Louis on this, but I am not a watercolor expert at all. You will, until I get more confident in that, you will not see me sharing any of my work on camera. I think it's a mental block of mine stemming back from elementary school, but whatever. This is the set we got at the class. So we got all of these tools as part of the class. And what I'm trying to do here is the different thicknesses or consistencies, I should say. And I need to practice that. Maybe I'll get better at that by the time I'm done. Like that, I think is too thin for this medium one I'm trying to do here. And then the last one is going to be the thinnest. Oops, that's not hardly the thinnest, Nancy. And the brush I'm using for this, I bought separate because I had issues with the brush that was provided as part of the class. This is a Derwent, which I found on Amazon, and I'm sure you get them in art stores too, where instead of squeezing, which I tended to get a lot to drip out through the feed there, you push in on these little buttons, and then that tends to control the amount of water that gets distributed. So let me pull out my sheet here. So I'm going to start with this. This is a Pilot Custom 74 model in an extra fine. And I am going to put this down. It's pretty smooth to write on. This is also a sheening ink, one of the Diamine exclusives from Cult Pens, and I'll show it to you after it dries a little bit. The next pen I'm going to use is this TWSBI Mini Diamond, which is a stub nib, and I absolutely adore stub nibs. I have an upcoming video I'm going to be releasing on my stub nib collection, which is quite extensive. But I just love there's a lot of things I love about it. You'll just have to watch the video and I'll tell you. So I'm trying to do a print versus a cursive, but I'm kind of cheating there a little bit, it looks like. This next one is a Pilot Custom 823 with a broad nib. So this lays down a ton of ink. And we'll see how this behaves on this paper. I'm just going to write this shorthand. I don't write much with a broad nib, but I'm getting more used to liking them just because I like inks so much. And you see I'm struggling to write little with it. I tend to write small, and so that's one of the reasons I don't gravitate to them. So anyway, because I like inks, you can see broad nibs work really well for that. This is my problem child. This is a Magna Carta Omniflex 650. And I have tried so many different inks in this, I cannot tell you. And I don't have the art of it down. So I need to spend more time learning this. This isn't a Roshizuku ink. It's either Amarillo or Konpeki. I don't remember which one. And um, see, you have to. I write fast also, and that's you can't do that with this nib. But I have a lot of flow issues with this particular pen, just because I don't know how to harness it yet. And then this last one, let me show you this. This is the Diplomat Excellence in Waves. I love this pen. I'm not a huge fan of metal pens, but this has an enameled section on it, so it's not quite as, it has a little bit more of a texture on it. But I love Diplomat pens. I only have a couple, but I'm really happy with the ones I do. So this is an extra fine, and of course, because it's a Western, um, it's made in Germany. I can't spell and talk at the same time. It is quite a bit different. The extra fine here is quite a bit different than the Pilot extra fine. And I'm just going to do a little bit of more writing with this. Almost everything will work again if, whoops, you unplug it, including you. And that is a quote from Anne Lamott. So I'm writing with this has Jacques Arbon Pearl Noir in it. So it's just a standard black ink that gives you a good experience, I guess, writing on this paper. Very smooth so far. And the marker test, I don't use markers a ton, but I had the space, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. These are Joindot markers. They were new to the market this past year. They're from Midori. They come in, I have 6 different color combos. And the nice thing about it is you get all these, it's 3 colors in one versus, carrying a bunch of Mildliners around. But I will tell you, even though you can control to some degree the size of the dot, these things are juicy. So they tend to bleed through even my 68 GSM in my Take a Note planner. That's a Toy River paper. The Zig Dot I'm going to try is this one. And then I'm going to try a Mildliner. And then I'm going to try a couple different kinds of stamps. I have this Midori pre-inked stamp that is has very fine and crisp lines that you don't really need to press to get a really good image. And then I have this roller stamp that usually lays it down pretty thick too, that I need to just like lightly but evenly glide across. See, I didn't do a very good job there. Is that too much of an angle? So we'll set this off to finish drying and move on to the next, which is the slight white paper. And I am probably going to turn off the volume and do these and flow through them pretty fast since you've already seen me go through one example. This last paper here, the smooth art paper, is very, very slick. Not only is it very thick, it's 104.7 GSM. It's not 105, it's only 104.7, but it's very coated. And so I had some challenges with the extra fine, kind of wanting to dig in on the pilot extra fine. And then also on the flex, it was kind of railroading, and everything just kind of looks like mush. It's all flat. I don't even have to, it's not even fully dry, but look how flat all of those inks look. And the watercolor was really hard to lay down too. So, gosh, even look at the zebra Mildliner. It looks like it's almost sheening on this. Just that's how glossy it is. The color of everything is very vibrant, but the texture, the finish on it just doesn't do much for me. So I don't know what I'll be using this paper for, but I'm glad I got it in a sample pack because I don't think it's something that I would use in frequent um, rotation. So let's go through, I guess we can go through reverse order. So the Sheep Clouds Bond, you can see here, you've got all of the properties of these inks. There's also feathering on the scented ink here, and it's kind of granulated. It kind of sinks into the grains of the paper a little bit more. Interestingly, there's some watercoloring or some feathering on the watercolors, and I got kind of messy. Was it on this one that I dropped the nib? I dropped this pen. It's fine. The nib's fine. But ink splurted out, and I didn't realize I was dragging my hand through it, and so I was getting it on some of these papers. But this one is a 70 GSM. It's slightly off-white. I don't know if it's an eggshell color or not, but it really doesn't do much for me either in terms of the ink properties. It was okay to write on, but not doing much for me here. The Soliste or Soliste is very much the yellowest of them all. And it's okay in terms of all the ink properties. I mean, the sheens, the shimmers, and the uh, multi chroma shading shades. The watercolors picked up fine, and it was fine to write on. The coloration of things will be off just because of the yellow cast of the paper. And this is a 65 GSM. Uh, let's see. Then we had the Slight White, and this one performed pretty well. So it's a little heavier. Again, it's an 81.4 GSM. There, you can definitely feel some tooth on this, but the performance of everything and the way it felt when I was writing was fine, and the inks look fine on this as well. So this would be something I would be interested in writing in some more. And then the last one is this Light Force. And it was okay. The sheen is just really flat on this one compared to some of the others. And you can see too, like even the color's way different on this smooth art paper. That's probably the least favorite of all of them. So that was kind of an interesting experiment. And again, after these all fully dry, I'm going to put them in my binder and go through the rest of my paper collection as well. I have lots of other papers I've already tried. These 5 I had never tried. And, some of them I do like are like Stalogy is good. The Campus Kokuyo and what is it, the Sara is a really nice one. It's adequate. Of course, there's a roll full Cosmo Air Light and Usari and Kleid papers. There's lots of good papers out there. I would say that my everyday binder paper, testing paper, that's my favorite, is not Rhodia, which a lot of people like. I prefer the Maruman Nemosine paper the best. So that's kind of my go-to if I have a coil-bound notepad that I want to buy and just write notes on or test inks on and things like that.
After reviewing the video I shot live, I noticed that I had cut off the top end of the page. And so I'm going through each one of these again to really highlight the inks and show you how they performed on the different papers, because you did not get a chance to see that very well in the original video that I shot.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this interesting. And if you've got some favorite papers that you want to share, please let me know. This wraps up my 30-day appreciation challenge. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing a brief recap video that is going to sum up what my takeaways are from this challenge, this appreciation challenge journey that I've been on. And then I am going to get ready for the San Francisco Pen Show, which is going to be at the end of August. So that's a preview of coming attractions from my channel. Thanks for joining me today.